going in the same direction. You don't have all of those pedestrians, so it's a little safer. It's still a very dangerous situation to have anyone just, flying around at high rates of speed, but at least we aren't dealing with intersections and pedestrians. But still, this is a tough situation because we're likely not to see spike strips or a pit maneuver at these rates of speed.
Right. They're a little too fast for pit maneuvers, and bike strip with the traffic, it's going to be difficult, especially on the multi-lane freeway. The problem with the freeway being light in traffic is he's able to get up to higher speeds. And then, as we know, LA traffic stops and goes at different spots throughout the city. So he may come upon traffic that's slowing or traffic that's stopped and not be able to avoid them.
And we're looking here on the passenger side. I'm trying to tell from my vantage point if that's the side view mirror that is just dangling there. I'm not sure when that got damaged, if it was if that happened before we started watching this, or if in one of those lane changes got a little too close and actually clipped the mirror there. We did see the driver of this SUV bump into the back of another white SUV. But I didn't see any incident when they actually knocked off this side view mirror. Did you see that?
That's the first I've seen the passenger side, so I'm not sure when that occurred.
Okay. Well, what we are also learning is that according to the CHP, these robbery suspects hit a business in Bakersfield, then hit the Speedway in Fort Tejon, pointing an AR-15 style gun at the clerk, then fled through Newhall, where the CHP picked up the pursuit. So again, they know that these suspects are armed with an AR-15 style weapon when they were robbing that Speedway, like a Speedway gas station type of business. And so we have got plenty of CHP cruisers behind this. And Lieutenant Griffiths, I mean, when you hear that your suspects are armed with an AR-15 style weapon, that is certainly has to heighten the pursuit.
Absolutely. Most pursuits, you presume they're armed, but when you get information that they're armed with a high-powered rifle, such as an AR-15, it changes the dynamics of how you're going to chase them. You don't want to get too close. You don't want to get in a position where he can open fire on you. And we've seen it many times where, while driving, they'll open fire through the rear of the vehicle.
Wow. And we have not seen that, but it certainly kind of heightens things as we see people stopping in front of this SUV and now knowing that they have an AR-15 style weapon that they pointed at a clerk earlier. There's really no telling what they will do on the roadway here to anybody that might be getting in their way.
Yeah, he committed a serious felony. He's armed. He's going to use whatever methods he can to get away.
Yeah, this is, I mean, all pursuits are dangerous, but this one just seems a little heightened now that we know about the type of weapon that these people have in this vehicle. And, you just never know how desperate someone is to try to get away. And if anyone is, stopping them, what they might be willing to do. So certainly a heightened risk here. In addition to that vehicle being a weapon, now we know that there is an actual AR-15 that they have already been spotted with, pointed it at a clerk at that Speedway that they stopped at. And I guess that is where the robbery took place that started this in the first place. So again, these are robbery suspects. They hit a Speedway business there and pointed that AR-15 at the clerk. So we continue to watch as they refuse to stop on the 10 freeway here where we are. And we've been watching this for about 40 minutes now. And you just wonder how much gas is in this vehicle, Lieutenant, because as you mentioned, it is an older, larger SUV. And it's been going at decent speeds, driving pretty aggressively. So I guess at times like this, officers are wondering how much gas do they have, and if they run out of gas, what are they willing to do? Now, we're showing you on the right side of the screen when they were tapping that other white SUV. I believe it's a Lexus. And this person who's getting tapped is unaware that this SUV is on the run and that there are robbery suspects inside.
Right, and previous to this, the Lexus, he also did the same thing to another vehicle, tapped it a couple of times, and then went around it.
Wow, that is definitely desperate measures, and you just, it's a good thing that the person didn't get out of their car and try to approach this driver unaware that they're being pursued by the CHP, just to say, hey, you hit my car, let's exchange information, and someone could easily pull out that AR-15 style weapon on anyone who approaches them. So certainly this is a bad situation made even worse.
Yeah, it's a very dangerous situation, very dangerous felon on the run that's armed and obviously is using measures to get away. The only advantage we have at this point, like you said, it's a larger SUV, so it probably gets very poor gas mileage, and hopefully it was low on gas when this started.
Yeah, but we haven't heard that the vehicle is stolen, so perhaps they even know who's driving this vehicle, and maybe trying to make contact with family members or anyone else that might be associated with this driver. And we don't even know if there's anyone else in the vehicle. It looks like there's someone in the passenger seat, but with those dark tinted windows, we don't know if there are other people in the back of this SUV.
Yeah, it's very hard to tell. There could be a full load in the back of the back seat and the passenger seat, and that's why when this will stop, they draw the driver out at gunpoint, and then they go up and at gunpoint check the vehicle to make sure it's clear before moving on. They don't just assume it's one person in there.
Yeah, and we're certainly seeing this traffic back up. They are westbound on the 10 near La Brea. And, at this hour, you got, in LA, you've got traffic any hour of any day. And we are seeing more traffic on this westbound side of the 10 near La Brea, coming up on a box truck. And I don't think that he's going to want to bump into this box truck, but has certainly been using the shoulder there to go around. And we know oftentimes there's a lot of debris in those shoulders. And we're just watching as it's right up on this box truck, and all of those cruisers right behind. And you have to wonder if that box truck even knows, what's happening, that this SUV is actually being chased by those officers. But it looks like people are seeing the lights and hearing the sirens and trying to kind of pull towards the right to get out of the way of the cruisers, and that's opening up space for this SUV.
Yeah, they're doing what they're supposed to do and trying to get out of the way as best they can. Of course, this area, as you approach the 405, usually backs up at this time of day. Well, all right, and most times of the day on the 10 freeway. So he's going to probably run into more traffic as we move along towards the 405, and we'll see more of this slowing traffic, and he's going to have to either use the center lane or start switching lanes.
Yeah, and getting more desperate and more aggressive with those, attempts to get away. We're seeing them move towards the right. Wonder if they're thinking about getting off of the 10 or just trying to find more space out there. But at least on the freeway, you don't have those intersections. You don't have pedestrians. You have plenty of cars, but less of, those maneuvers that they have to get through. But oftentimes we see these suspects get off and go to an area that's familiar to them. But at this point, this person has been on the 5 and now the 10, and just dealing with plenty of traffic this afternoon. Again, these are robbery suspects. They robbed the Speedway business and pulled. This was in Bakersfield. They robbed a business, and then they hit a Speedway and pulled an AR-15 style weapon on the clerk at that Speedway. And that is when the CHP got called and started chasing these suspects. So we do, know that they are armed with an AR-15 style weapon, and are definitely doing all that they can to avoid being stopped by the CHP officers. We've seen very desperate attempts, even tapping SUV that was in front of them to basically bump them out of the way, tapped that car a couple of times, and now we see that side view mirror hanging on the side. We don't know when that was knocked off like that, but we did see them tapping that other car. And it looks like they're having trouble with the tire there. Is that what you're seeing, Lieutenant? It looks like that front passenger tire has gone flat from this vantage point. Am I imagining that, or are you seeing that as well? Okay, it is coming off altogether. And, we often talk about them, being on the shoulders. There's a lot of debris in the shoulders. And now we see that that tire is really basically falling off here. And in your experience, how is this going to change things if they cannot continue driving this vehicle and they know that he is armed with an AR-15 style weapon? I mean, things have got to be ramping up for these officers that are following this SUV.
Yeah, the anticipation of him stopping now is heightened. He's got a couple of choices. He can get off the freeway, or he can continue on, and we've seen it many times before, with no wheel at all until the car catches fire. So he looks like he's being able to keep it straight at this point, but I'm sure it's pulling to the right pretty heavy.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be harder and harder to steer. It looks like they are pulling over to the side here, and we hope. And they lost the driver's side also, that tire. So apparently they have gone over something. They have now pulled to a stop. And again, these suspects have been seen with an AR-15 style weapon. These officers know that. We are watching as they have really pulled up all across the freeway. This is on the westbound side of the 10. They were getting closer to the 405. We see those officers out of their vehicles with their weapons drawn. But again, we have heard that, we've seen an arm that is out of that window, of the driver's side window. You can see now that driver's side tire as well. And both arms out of the window and now opening up that door. But again, they don't know who else is in that vehicle, Lieutenant. Those windows are tinted so dark, and they have heard that these suspects are armed.
That's correct. They're going to take every precaution. They're going to go slow and methodical and order him out at gunpoint and make sure his hands are up where they can see him. Normally, they'll wait until they get traffic in the other direction blocked, especially when there's a weapon such as an AR-15 involved. They don't want anybody in the crossfire for if anything goes wrong.
Yeah, and we can see all the traffic on this side is stopped, but not on the other. But this person does seem to be complying, and we just saw that canine that was just being put back into the car there. But so one suspect is now being handcuffed there on the westbound side of the 10. It did appear that there was someone else in the passenger side of this SUV, but we will have to wait and watch and see as they search this weapon, search this vehicle. But again, we did hear that they were armed with an AR-15, and so, and thinking that these officers would be approaching very carefully, very cautiously. They have their weapons drawn, so apparently it didn't appear to them that there was anyone else in the vehicle the way that they're approaching, correct?
Yeah, it seems like they're very relaxed at this point, and if I was on scene as the watch commander, I wouldn't approach the vehicle. The reason we leave the driver's door open, because we have a canine, we can send the canine to check rather than send a person up. Because right now they're right out in the open.
Yeah, and so it appears at this point that there is no one else in that vehicle. It did look at one point like there was someone in the passenger side, but apparently that was just perhaps that driver moving around on that side. We did not hear of the reports of how many people were in the car once that robbery took place, again, at a business up in Bakersfield, as well as a Speedway, where we heard that this suspect pulled an AR-15 style weapon on a clerk at a Speedway. But again, this went on for about 50 minutes along the 5 and the westbound 10. We see that the traffic on the westbound side of the 10, this is not too far from the 405, and that traffic is just stopped. It's going to take a while to get this cleared up because they need to clear the scene and, you know, do their investigation there that needs to be done to, I guess, you know, get that car moved. It's not completely out of the lane, but hopefully they can open up a couple of the lanes, right, Lieutenant?
Yeah, they'll probably keep the right lane and the shoulder closed, but CHP is very conscious about opening the freeway as quickly as they can. So you'll see the units start to move out of the way and continue their investigation at the vehicle.
All right. Well, Lieutenant Griffiths, retired from the Riverside Police Department, thanks so much for joining us along on this pursuit. Again, their suspect is in custody. This is a robbery suspect that you see right there in that white T-shirt that police now have handcuffed and are putting that person in a cruiser.